The game of water polo is officiated by 2 referees who are assisted by a team of minor officials who support gameplay in a number of important ways. Minor official roles may vary slightly based on the equipment available and the host facility, but there are generally 5 responsibilities for the team of minor officials. 1. Game timekeeper. 2. Possession timekeeper, shot clock. 3. Exclusion secretary, penalty time, penalty tracking. 4. Game secretary. 5. Goal judge, 1 on each line. This tutorial will cover the role of the game clock timekeeper. The game of water polo is played in 4 8-minute quarters, with rest periods of 2 minutes between quarters 1 and 2, and between quarters 3 and 4, and 5 minutes at the halftime between quarters 2 and 3. A tournament host may decide to use different time settings such as 7 or 6 minutes per quarter, but 8 minutes is the official FINA standard. The game clock timekeeper is responsible for ensuring these time frames are fairly applied. Depending on equipment available, the game clock and the possession clock, also called the shot clock or the 30-second clock, may either be controlled by the same start-stop controller or separate start-stop controllers. In any case, the rules for starting and stopping the possession clock are exactly the same as those for the game clock. Resetting of the possession clock will be covered in the possession clock section. Water polo is played in what is called a stop time format. This means that the clock is stopped manually by the game timekeeper when the referee signals with a whistle, a minor foul, a major foul, a goal, a timeout, a referee's stoppage, or the end of a quarter. The game clock timekeeper is then required to manually restart the clock when an offensive player plays the ball, which he or she can do in any number of ways which we will demonstrate in a moment. Simply, the game timekeeper stops the game clock only when the referee signals this by blowing the whistle. The clock must stop after every whistle, and it is not to restart until the ball is played correctly or until the referee signals for the clock to restart. There are a couple of exceptions to mention here. The game timekeeper does not stop the clock when the referee blows the whistle to indicate the start of a quarter or a swim-off, indicate the start of play following a timeout, to get a player's attention, or to signal the start of a penalty shot. Note that in all of these scenarios, the clock is already stopped. Let's look briefly at the different situations where a referee blows the whistle that would indicate that the clock should be stopped. Minor fouls happen frequently in the game of water polo and only indicate that a player has been awarded a free throw. Gameplay does not come to a stop when a minor foul is called, though the game clock does stop until a free throw is taken. If the defense commits the minor foul, the offense maintains possession of the ball and the referee will signal with a single whistle blast. If an offensive minor foul is called, there is a change of possession and the defense is awarded the ball. In this case, the referee will blow the whistle with 2 sharp blasts. Here are some examples of minor fouls. Pushing, pulling a player to gain advantage. Submerging the ball. Causing the ball to go out of the field of play. Minor fouls are not considered by the referee to be directly affecting a scoring opportunity or to be violent or disrespectful. More serious infractions will be covered shortly. The game timekeeper does not need to know every reason that a minor foul might be called, but they must simply respond to the whistle by stopping the clock and restart upon the ball being played. You'll notice throughout the game that referees use different whistle signals for different types of calls. Defensive minor fouls are signaled with a single short, sharp blast, while offensive or contra fouls are signaled with a double tweet of the whistle. The referee will also point using a fully extended arm in the direction of play to signal to the minor officials and all players which team has been awarded the free throw. The referee points towards the end that the team awarded the free throw would be attacking. In other words, they point in the direction of the offense, which changes depending on which team is being awarded the ball. In this scenario, with the dark team on offense, a player is fouled by his defender wearing a white cap. The referee blows the whistle and points towards the white team's end, indicating that the dark team maintains possession and has been awarded a free throw. In this scenario, the offensive player pushes his defender away to gain an advantage. The referee blows the whistle with 2 sharp blasts and points towards the offensive team's goal, indicating a change in possession and awarding the free throw to the defensive player. If minor fouls are small infractions that earn the fouled player a free throw, major fouls are more serious infractions that result in a player being ejected from the game for a 20-second exclusion or a penalty shot being awarded. Minor officials don't need to know every possible infraction that would result in a major foul. They just have to respond to the whistle and gameplay. But a few examples of major fouls would be exclusion fouls, aggressive fouling, pulling back, grabbing the bathing suit, foul or touching the head, minor foul inside 5 meters that takes away a scoring chance, penalty shot fouls, a foul that prevents a probable goal inside 5 meters, goalie submerging the ball, ejected player interferes with gameplay, illegal entry of a player, a team calling a timeout when they do not have possession. The referee signals an exclusion with a double blast of the whistle followed by a third blast of the whistle. The ref will then hold one or both hands high in the air with fingers extended to indicate to the players and minor officials the cap number of the player being ejected. On an exclusion, often called a kickout, an ejection, or a 20-second penalty, the game clock stops when the whistle is blown. Following an exclusion call, the offensive team is awarded a free throw. The free throw can happen very quickly after the call, as the game does not pause to allow the excluded player to leave the pool. It is the excluded player's responsibility to get to the exclusion area, near the team bench, without interfering with gameplay. The game timekeeper must be prepared to restart the clock as soon as the ball is played by the offense. This may well happen while the ref is still signaling the exclusion. We will discuss restarting the clock later in this video. The referee signals a penalty throw, also called a 5-meter shot, with a short and then long blast of the whistle and by raising one hand in the air with all 5 fingers extended. Not to be confused with signaling the cap number 5, which would be indicated by the hand held straight overhead. The 5-meter penalty shot is signaled with the arm leaning forward to approximately 45 degrees towards the players. After the 5-meter penalty shot hand signal, the ref will then hold one or both hands high in the air with fingers extended to indicate to the players and minor officials the cap number of the player being ejected. When a penalty shot is awarded, all gameplay stops, and the clock is not restarted until the shot is taken. Following the call, one player from the offense will line up in the middle of the net on the 5-meter line. Defenders will line up on either side, far enough away, about 2 meters, so they cannot interfere with the taking of the penalty shot. The goalkeeper must line up with his or her head on the goal line. The referees may take a moment to ensure all players are lined up correctly. With the players lined up, the referee will raise an arm to indicate that he or she is about to signal the penalty shot. The whistle will be blown once, while the referee simultaneously lowers their arm. At that instant, the shooter must begin a continuous motion resulting in a shot on goal. The game clock will be started when the shooter releases the ball. If a goal is scored on the penalty, or if the ball goes out of play, the referee will blow the whistle to stop play. But if no goal is scored and the ball remains in play, for example, if a goalie makes a save or the ball rebounds off the goalpost, gameplay continues and the clock continues to run. As described earlier, an exclusion is a 20-second penalty. The penalties listed in this section are how we describe much more serious types of infractions that indicate a player or coach is being warned or removed from play for the remainder of the game and possibly for the following games as well. Yellow cards are used as a warning to a head coach or player. A referee may issue a yellow card without stopping gameplay, so the clock would continue to run. The game timekeeper must know how to respond if there is a whistle. Coaches and players can be warned with the yellow card only once per match. After that, they must be shown the red card. Assistant coaches cannot be shown a yellow card, they can only be shown the red card. Game time will stop for a red card, which indicates the head coach, player, or assistant coach has been ejected from the match. Play will only continue when they have left the playing area. After signaling with the same double blast, single blast whistle used for all major fouls, the referee will indicate a disqualification by rolling his hands in front of his chest. This means the player is excluded from the remainder of the game, but the team is allowed to substitute for the player after a normal 20-second penalty. The player will be shown the red card and must leave the competition area immediately. After signaling the same double blast, single blast whistle used for all major penalties, the referee will indicate a brutality foul has been called by forming an X with their arms in front of the stomach. A brutality call results in the player being excluded from the remainder of the match, plus a penalty shot being awarded, plus the ejected player's team will play one player short for a full 4 minutes. The player will be shown the red card and must leave the competition area immediately. Aside from fouls, there are other instances in which the referee will indicate, with a whistle, that the game clock should stop. This would include a goal being scored, a coach has requested a timeout, the ball has left the field of play, a shot clock has expired, the quarter has ended, he or she wishes to remove the ball from play. They may do this to correct a call they made in error, to check with the bench on a timing issue, to ask a player to replace a cap that came off during gameplay, or for any other reason. Regarding stopping the game clock, the simplest thing to remember is that the gamekeeper only stops the clock when the referee blows the whistle. You don't respond to what you think might be a goal or a ball out of play, you don't react to the shot clock buzzer, you simply listen for the referee's whistle. There are a number of common scenarios in which the timekeeper is called upon to start or restart the clock. These include at the start of each period of play. During the regular gameplay, the clock is restarted after all minor fouls, major fouls, expired shot clocks, ball out of play, and most other stoppages when the player awarded the free throw plays the ball. After a timeout. On a penalty shot. Let's look at these common clock start scenarios one at a time. Start of play. At the start of each period of gameplay, there is a swim-off to see which team gets the first possession. A referee's whistle initiates the swim-off, however the game clock is started only when the first player from either team touches the ball. Following typical gameplay stoppages like minor fouls, major fouls, ball out of play, and shot clock expiry, the game timekeeper restarts the clock when the player awarded the free throw plays the ball. A player can restart play in several ways. When awarded a free throw, a player has, at the referee's discretion, a reasonable amount of time, once the ball is in their possession, to play the ball. A general guide is that the player has about 3 seconds once the ball is in their control. The player can toss the ball an inch or two in the air and recatch it, pass the ball. If the free throw is more than 5 meters from the net, the player may, in one continuous motion, immediately shoot the ball, drop the ball in the water either to swim with it or wait for a play to develop. If the player travels in the water while holding the ball, the clock should be started. Technically, the ball has not been played, but if the player is moving in the water, the clock is started. Strictly speaking, if the player who has been awarded the free throw does not play the ball as previously described, the referee may call a delay of game foul and turn the ball over to the other team. In fact, this call is very rarely ever made, and there will be times when a player never really plays the ball in any reasonable time frame. It's the game timekeeper's job to start an approximate 3 count after each whistle and to restart the clock when the player has had a reasonable amount of time to play the ball. Note that the 3 count should not begin until the ball is in the player's throwing hand. As well, with experienced referees calling a game, instead of using the 3 count approach, the timekeeper can simply watch the referee's arm. As mentioned in a previous section of the video, when a referee makes a call, they indicate which team has been awarded the free throw by pointing in the direction of the offense. If you watch the ref following each foul, they will lower their arm when they deem that play has restarted. The most experienced refs will do this consistently, but in many situations the timekeeper may find that they have to rely on the 3-count rule previously noted. As mentioned earlier, when a penalty shot is awarded, the clock will be stopped on the whistle. Then the shooter will line up on the 5-meter line to take the penalty shot. Typically, a defender will line up 2 meters away on either side of the shooter. The referee, standing on the 5-meter line, will hold one arm in the air to indicate he will imminently signal that the shot should be taken. He will then blow one sharp blast on his whistle and lower his arm, which is the signal to the shooter that the penalty shot may be taken. The game clock should be restarted as soon as the ball leaves the fingertips of the shooter. If the shot is blocked or rebounds off a goalpost and stays in play, the clock, which the timekeeper has just restarted, continues to run and normal play resumes. If a ball is scored or the ball goes out of play, the referee will blow the whistle indicating that the clock is to be stopped again. It may be that only 1 or 2 seconds have expired in these situations. When a coach requests a timeout, the referee will blow the whistle to signal a stoppage in play and ask for the ball. It is not uncommon for a coach to request a timeout when the clock is already stopped. No further action is required by the game timekeeper. A timeout works this way. A timeout lasts 1 minute. If the pool is equipped with sophisticated timing systems, the game clock will count down the 60-second timeout. With 15 seconds remaining in the timeout, a horn will sound, or the referee will blow the whistle, indicating it's time to return to the field of play and the players can cross half. At the end of 60 seconds, the ref will then toss the ball to a player who has not crossed center. It is common for the offensive team to move their goalkeeper up to near half pool to take this free throw, allowing their full offense to set up near the net. The referee then blows the whistle to start play. It is critical that the clock start immediately and that the player plays the ball to avoid teams using a timeout to extend a possession by a few seconds using stop time. Normal play resumes from that point. To better understand the game of water polo and all minor official rules, please be sure to watch all 5 tutorial videos in this series. These include Game Timekeeper, Possession Timekeeper, Exclusion Secretary, Game Secretary, and Goal Judge. Thank you.